girl, so glad that you tuned in. My name's Bethany, and this is the Make Up Your Mind channel. You're listening to episode 15. Whether you're actually putting on your makeup, maybe you're getting ready for work or school from home, maybe you're at Starbucks getting an eggnog latte or a gingerbread latte or a peppermint mocha. I don't know what your holiday drink of choice is. Maybe you're getting a coffee and getting all ready for the day. Wherever life finds you today, I hope that you remember that there are people that are for you, cheering you on to succeed. And today, I hope that I can be one of those people standing as a cheerleader on the sideline of your life, helping you to make up your mind all day long about the small things that add up to huge things later on. We have just finished a relationship series and we are in December. Can you believe that? I can't even believe it. We're in December 2020. And so I'm going to start a new series today on Advent. What's Advent, you say? Well, you'll have to listen in. The first candle in the Advent series is the candle of hope. So I want you real quick right now as you listen to me talk to run and find a candle somewhere in your house and a lighter or a match. Make sure that you're safe and that your mom knows if you're younger that you're going to be lighting a candle while you listen to this. But go run and find a candle because you'll need it a little bit later. And this episode is titled Everyone's Felt Hopeless. So girl, we're actually going to skip the makeup portion of this week's episode just for this week because I have a lot to cover this week, more than I usually do in introducing the concept of Advent. But stay tuned, we'll be back to makeup next week, and I think I'm going to announce a fun little giveaway for Christmas, so you won't want to miss it. So, real quick, for those of you who are new to the concept of Advent, I confess I've only just begun learning about it as well. Advent actually, to Christianity, actually means the arrival. Ooh, I get the shivers. Some of you might have question marks in your head, like, the arrival of what? Or the arrival of who? And why are we taking so many weeks to be talking about this? Well, this coming holiday season, Christmas, is super special to me. To some of you, this holiday might just equate to extra stress. Maybe it's just the bustle and hustle of Christmas to you. Maybe it means extra stress of having family around that you don't actually really get along with. Or maybe some of this family isn't nice to you, or maybe it's you spending all of your hard-earned money on gifts for people that maybe you don't actually like, or maybe it stirs up sad emotions for you, like a loved one passing away or parents getting divorced. I know that Christmas season isn't necessarily fun for everybody. Sometimes it just equals a bunch of extra rushing and bustling around. So I just want to take a quick moment to redefine the Christmas season for you. Can you give me that? It's super easy for all of us to kind of slip into this like bustling, rushing around kind of version of Christmas. But what I love about Advent is it actually creates a rhythm for us during the Christmas season to slow our roll, to just slow down and actually pay attention to what this is all about. Advent is really about the arrival of Jesus, the Son of God, who came to this earth as a baby, who then grew up, died for all of humanity, was buried, and then rose to life again. It's about his arrival. But it's also about the arrival that hasn't yet happened, his second coming to this earth. And that is when he's going to set the whole world right. Because girl, I'm sure you're well aware that not all is right in this world. It's pretty broken. So we're going to take the next couple of weeks to talk about the various candles in Advent. I don't know if you've ever seen an Advent candle set, but there's several candles and you light one each week to represent a different gift that Jesus really brought to this earth when he came. And the first candle is hope. Okay, I'm going to pause because if you're listening and you're like, Bethany, you are talking so much about Jesus recently. I know. There's a lot of Jesus going to be in this series. And Jesus is really important to me. He's really changed my life. And so if you're new to Christianity, or maybe you're not a Christian and you're just listening because it's a fun podcast to listen to, I know it's fun. If you're new to this whole thing, I would just want to challenge you to come in with a curious attitude. Just come in and listen and maybe learn something new about Jesus and who he is. Jesus is really important to me, so some of the episodes will focus more on him than others, but there is going to be a pretty strong theme of Jesus and what he's done throughout all the episodes on this channel. But believe me, we don't want to force any kind of beliefs on you if you're not ready. So for now, just put on your curious hat and come on this journey with us. We're so happy you're here. With the arrival of Jesus came the arrival of hope, of love, of joy, and of peace. We're going to take the next 4 weeks to talk about these concepts and how there's so much more than just concepts that you learn in Sunday school. I think a lot of us have that idea about those words. They're kind of just out there and they're kind of, ooh, hairy-fairy, but there's so much more than that. And Jesus brought them because he knew we needed them. And because ultimately he is good and he has good gifts for us. So hope. My pastor this last week talked a lot about hope as well. And he kind of brought up the point that when we talk about hope, most of the time, it's kind of in negative terms. It's actually, when we say hope, it's usually like the opposite of what hope actually means. We hear a lot of time phrases that are like, well, I sure hope so, or don't get your hopes up, or I hope she makes it, or I hope this happens. Things like that, you know? All of those sayings are actually meaning the opposite of hope. We're actually saying those things because we doubt. Am I right? What those phrases are actually meaning is don't even dream about it because it's probably not going to happen. It means I doubt it, or she's probably not going to make it, or that thing that you are really hoping for is probably not going to happen, and I'm trying to convince myself that maybe it could. Okay, so I have a guess that is probably not really a guess. I think as a society, most of us can relate to the opposite of hope more than we can relate to hope itself. I think hope is a misunderstood concept, and most of us don't have a whole lot of it. I think a lot of us doubt rather than hope because we've had our hopes let down by things that have utterly failed. Hope has actually let us down, and it leaves us feeling hopeless. I was at youth group a week or so ago, and there was a moment where the pastor actually asked all of the students in the room, if you have ever felt hopeless in your life, I want you to stand up. And I was shocked, you guys, actually shocked. Every single person in the room stood up. Youth leader, parent, mom, dad, student, everyone stood up. There wasn't a person sitting down. I think that all of us, no matter who we are, have felt the cold touch of hopelessness at some point in time in our lives. I've been there, probably too recently. I've felt that cold, dark, despairingly sad presence of hopelessness. And let me tell you, it is not fun. My hopes in other people, in circumstances working out, in my health, even in my husband or my family or my friends, all of my hopes have been let down. I've been in super deep disappointment before, and I'm sure you've been there too. Parents getting divorced, health diagnosis, maybe yours or someone that you love. Maybe you feel just overlooked or not worth the time of day. Or maybe life has just dealt you a bad hand and you just feel like there's a lot piled up against you. Can I tell you a couple of secrets that I don't think a lot of people know? The first secret, number 1, you are not alone in your disappointment. You're not alone in your hopelessness. I saw it in that room. I was amazed to see how many people have felt that way. I just bet that if you open up to someone in your hopelessness, in your disappointment, that the chances are that they will be able to relate and that they've been there. I bet you would feel less alone. I think one of the main weapons that hopelessness and disappointment have is making you feel like you're all alone, that no one will understand and that no one will care. And here's my second secret, if that's okay to share with you today. This one actually is props to my friend Tessa, who just said this to me earlier this week, and it just really shook me. I'd never thought of it this way before. Christmas isn't for people that are happy. Christmas isn't for people who are filled with joy. Contrary to everything that we might believe, with all of the lights and parties and bustle and gifts and things that we're doing at Christmas time, contrary to all of that, Christmas isn't about that. If Christmas is really about the arrival of Jesus, then let's just take a second to think about why he really came. He came to restore the brokenness of humanity. He came because we were hopeless and he had hope to give us. Christmas is actually for the hopeless. It's for the joyless, the loveless, those who are anxious and in need of peace and wholeness. That's who Christmas is for. And it's for you. Can you just let that sink in for a second? If you've been feeling like you're dreading Christmas because you're just not in the Christmas mood or the Christmas spirit, I want you to know that actually your brokenness is why we have Christmas. And this hope that Jesus brought to us isn't a like gritting your teeth, what's that saying, by the skin of your teeth kind of hope. It's not like as hard as you can cross your fingers and hope that it happens. It's not that kind of hope, you guys. It's not the kind where you're trying to convince yourself. So you're saying, I sure hope so. And you're trying to convince yourself by saying that out loud, but you really doubt inside that there is goodness. It's not that kind of hope. Nope. This hope is so different. It exists outside of your present circumstances, outside of your present situation that you find yourself in. It's outside of that. This hope, it actually already knows the end of the story. You guys, we don't have to cross our fingers and hope that Frodo would destroy the ring at the end of the movie. We don't have to cross our fingers and hope that Luke defeats the darkness that's in Vader. Am I right? We don't have to cross our fingers to hope that Harry defeats Voldemort at the end of Harry Potter. I know, I'm sorry, I'm a nerd right now and it's showing. But we don't have to cross our fingers. Why? Because we know the end of the story. Sorry if that's a spoiler for you. At the end of the story, Frodo destroys the ring with the help of his faithful friend Sam. At the end of this story, Luke brings out the good that's still in Vader right before he's killed by the Emperor. At the end of this story, Harry and his band of wizarding friends defeat Voldemort and restore peace to the wizarding world. The hope that Jesus brought us, and I hope this isn't sacrilegious, the hope Jesus brought us is like when we're reading the books, but we've already seen the movies, right? We're in the middle of the book, we're in the middle of the story, but we actually already know how it ends. So no matter how bleak the story looks, we know how it ends. Sometimes we get wrapped up in the here and the now and how hopeless our situations look. But I want you to remember that we know the story ends with victory, with freedom, and with Jesus healing us and bringing wholeness to all of the brokenness around us. He has come to right every wrong. And that is why we celebrate Advent, the arrival, the coming of Jesus. That's why we need this hope. Jesus knew we would need an anchor to hold on to in this upside down, crazy world that's falling apart, so that when we momentarily get lost, when we start feeling hopeless, we can hold on to that anchor and remember that this hope is an anchor for my soul. So girl, let me remind you today that Jesus saw you. And even better than that, he sees you. And this hope is for you in the middle of your dark circumstances. Remember that you have a hope that's outside of those circumstances. And keep that candle of hope burning in your heart. So if you have a candle around you somewhere, go ahead and grab it. Grab your lighter. We're going to light this candle together. We've got one of those blowtorch ones. We've got this candle lit, the candle of hope. And we should have several candles, but we're just going to make do with one each week. So I'm going to read this scripture over you like we usually do at the end of every episode. Let it sink into your heart and meditate while you have this candle lit. Meditate on that hope that Jesus brought for you. This is out of Hebrews 6. Hebrews 6:13 through 20. When God made his promise to Abraham, he backed it to the hilt, putting his own reputation on the line. God said, I promise that I'll bless you with everything I have. Bless, bless, and more bless. Abraham stuck it out and got everything that he had been promised. He stuck it out and got everything that had been promised to him. When people make promises, they guarantee them by appeal to some authority above them so that if there's any question that they'll make good on the promise, the authority will back them up. But when God wanted to guarantee his promises, he gave his word, a rock solid guarantee. God can't break his word. And because his word cannot change, the promise is likewise unchangeable. And here it is. We who have run for our very lives to God have every reason to grab the promised hope with both hands and never let go. It's an unbreakable spiritual lifeline, an anchor, reaching past all appearances right into the very presence of God, where Jesus, running ahead of us, has taken up his permanent post as high priest for us. Let's grab onto that hope with both hands. That hope is Jesus. Jesus himself is our joy. Jesus himself is our love and our peace. May you remember that, my friend, this week, that Christmas isn't for those whose lives are put together. Christmas is for the brokenhearted. Christmas is for the hopeless, because of the arrival of the Prince who came to bring wholeness and make everything new. Girl, don't forget to subscribe wherever you're listening, whether it's on Spotify, Apple Music, maybe you're on YouTube or IGTV. Give this a share. Share this with someone this Advent season, someone that you want to take on this journey with you. And be sure that you tune in next week. We're going to be talking more about Advent, and I'm going to announce a Christmas makeup giveaway. You're not going to want to miss that. So we'll catch you later. We'll see you soon, girl.